Welcome back to Lean and Define. This is Mozzie, NASM certified personal trainer. So I'm sorry I haven't been filming recently. The weather's been really cold and I had a lot of stuff going on, so it became a little bit difficult. So finally today, I I just I'm still I'm, I thought I'd give it a try and film indoors and kind of see if that works out better, especially during cold days. So if that works, I may resume doing that for a little while, depending on how the weather turns out, God willing. So, anyways, the topic that I have today is about liquid calories. So, and that's liquid calories in relation to weight loss. So there's some interesting things about liquid calories because I think it can be one of the easiest ways to dial back on your total calorie intake in order to lose weight. Now we know that the general idea of weight loss comes from a calorie deficit. Now, what is that deficit from? It's in relation to your maintenance calories. Now, if you don't know what your maintenance calories are, you can find a maintenance calculator online. You can probably do just a search through a search engine, and there's a plethora of different sources that you can track your maintenance calories from. So there's some really important things that you should keep in mind when it comes to liquid calories, specifically in relation to losing weight. One really important reason, uh, one really important thing to keep in mind is that liquid calories do not keep you satiated. So they don't give you a feeling of fullness generally. And I'm not talking about caffeine. That's a little bit of a different thing as far as suppressing appetite. But in general, like your liquid calories don't give you a whole lot of satiation. And so if you're trying to reduce your total calorie intake, it's hard when you're consuming something that is not going to help you feel full, because that's something that's important when you're trying to lose weight. Otherwise, you're constantly battling hunger, which will probably be inevitable anyways, but you do want to reduce it as much as you can. Depending on what your total calorie intake it is as far as your liquid calories go, in some cases you may be able to burn all the 2 to 500 calories. You may be able to target all of the 2 to 500 calories that I recommend people to cut as far as a deficit goes for weight loss. So you're trying to get a 2 to 500 calorie deficit in. In some cases, you may be getting all those calories in from your liquid calories alone. If you get a lot of those, like specialty coffee drinks, or you drink a lot of energy drinks, you may be able to hit that 2 to 500 calories pretty quickly by just tallying up how much you drink every day. The third thing I wanted to bring up is that oftentimes the liquid calories are what can push people over the edge. So somebody goes out to eat, and let's say they have a burger and fries, and let's say that burger and fries comes out to 1,000 calories or 1,400 calories, but they also get a soda or some sort of carbonated drink or something, and that can easily push them to 200 calories maybe, or 250 calories depending on the size or whatever it is. And so suddenly that 1,000 turns into 1,200 or 1,250, or that 1,400 becomes 14 becomes like 16 or 1,650 or something. So it kind of pushes them over the edge if they were already getting close. So that's another thing, is when you dial back, like like you may be able to go to a burger place and leave there. If you're just getting a double cheeseburger with fries, you may be able to leave there with like around 1,000 calories in some cases without adding a drink to it. The fourth thing that I have is that in many cases, um, the drinks that people get at like coffee chains could easily be 2, 3, 4, 500 calories. So that's the thing to keep in mind. Like sometimes by simply just cutting one of those out, in one day, if someone's having something like that every day or 4 or 5 times a week, that may be all they need to cut in order to start losing weight. So that's really something to look at and kind of see where you can make changes. In some cases, that may be the first thing you want to change. Now, I gave you all these downsides. Now, I know that's a little bit negative. So, what are some alternatives? Well, for one, if we're talking about coffee, you can go and get regular coffee and just add a little bit of cream and or a little bit of sugar to it. You don't have to go and get a super high calorie drink. Another option is tea, and you can just get your tea with a little bit of sugar in it instead or something. Another option is if you want those higher calorie drinks, let's say you normally get the largest size, maybe you can cut that to a medium or a small, so that way you're still having what you like but less of it. That can also make a difference. If a drink is 500 calories but you cut the size in half, that could be a 250 calorie cut right there. So you don't always have to completely eliminate things. It just really depends on the overall situation. Now you can also just go over your total maintenance calories and then compare that to what you're taking in. So maybe for one day, just count all your calories for the day, compare that to what your maintenance calories are, and let's just say they're both even. You're basically taking in roughly exactly the amount of calories you need to maintain your weight, which means your weight may remain stable. So now you just need to figure out where to cut. So you can kind of look through the calories you've consumed in that day that you took inventory and kind of see what would be the easiest cuts to make. Oftentimes you may find that you would prefer to cut your coffee drink rather than cutting from your lunch or cutting another snack out or something like that. So kind of look it all over. Now, there is always the option of burning off those calories through exercise, and that's really dependent on the person. Like some people may enjoy just, oh, I'm going to go have a 500 calorie drink and then I'm going to go take a spin class and I'm going to burn 500 calories. That's fine if you want to do that. It's just not everybody's built that way. Like not everybody's up for that. So you got to look at it. And a lot of times it's easier to cut from your calories than to just become like a hamster on a wheel where you're just constantly just running in order to burn off all the calories you're eating. And then you eat more and then you're like, I'm going to go run some more. And then it's just like you're constantly having to run around all day. That's great. And that works for some people. Like I kind of like that myself. You know, thank God I'm actually not a huge eater, but I'm just saying like I like that move around a lot mentality. And then, oh, I went into this exercise, I can eat a little bit more. And I like that, but that doesn't work for everybody. So you got to think of yourself too. You can do a little bit of both also. And I've mentioned something like that in a past video. But the idea is you kind of just got to look at your situation, see where you can make your cuts, and you can weigh it out. Do I want to add a little bit more exercise, or do I want to cut food out of my diet, or do I want to do a little bit of both? Maybe I'll cut out a bag of chips, and maybe I'll go for a walk at the end of the day every day. So just weigh it out and see what works for you. Compare your maintenance calories to your total calories for one day of normal eating, and kind of see where they line up, and then just take inventory and look at where you can make those cuts. And I think this is a really important thing for people to look over. Now, some people are people who don't consume a lot of liquid calories. And unfortunately, in that case, this video probably didn't do a whole lot for you. But I think most people do it on some level. So I think you should at least kind of think it over and see where cuts could be made and put a little bit more thought into it. With that said, this is Mozzie here at Lean and Defined. Take care and stay active.